Welcome to Rainbow Soul Podcast, where our Soulstrology comes forward to help you manage your everyday life, with forecasts and deep dives on natal charts and queer perspectives on the planets, transits, and more. A group discussion about upcoming transits with tips on how to read these transits in your own chart. Hollis offers years of wisdom and natal chart knowledge with Bright Hawk's positive perspective and LeKross's inquiry. We offer the complete queer astrology experience. Welcome to Rainbow Soul. Please help us by subscribing, sharing, and commenting and reviewing. You can also learn where else Rainbow Soul is offered on our website at RainbowSoul.show.
Oops. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Well, Mercury retrograde is the theme of the week, so here we go.
That's what happens when I rush. Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm Hollis, and I'm one of your astrologers here today. And I do natal chart readings, and I also do a pretty unusual reading called a death chart reading, where I combine mediumship and death astrology and medical astrology. All right, and
Hi there, I'm Bright Hawk. Good to be back, and of course I'm a musician and storyteller, but of course I'm also an astrologer and an artist and an author of the book The Dancing Hippo, which is a great gift this time of year for little ones, and you can learn more about it at Bright Hawk Productions. And we send out our congratulations to our friend LeKross Ortiz, who is now a grandparent.
can you believe
And
it? So I'm so happy for him. His daughter gave birth to I didn't catch the gender of the child, and I suppose it doesn't matter. Since we don't really, it doesn't really matter anyway, does it? So, my friends, they have a beautiful, healthy baby, which is the most important thing, and that the child, I got their astrology information, so I'll be doing an astrology chart for them.
Such a valuable gift for baby and child to look at the astrology early on, to know how to help them be their best selves, help them realize their, most powerful selves. That's what, there's so much we learn about ourselves in astrology, and I just wish people were exposed to it so much earlier.
I totally agree. Hi, Jennifer. It's great to see
hey
you.
there.
Welcome, Jennifer and Lisa Masters. Thank you. We even have a great energy together on crazy dates like Mercury retrograde right now. So, we're doing a good job. And I'm glad you're all here, because today begins pretty much, well, I think you said like in 10
Literally
minutes.
right now.
Right now. Okay. Right now is Mercury retrograde.
Yeah,
Right now.
It is literally happening in these very moments.
Right now.
So we'll bring up that chart in a little bit.
Yeah, well, and we'll talk about the week's forecast, but I thought first we would do a little meditation.
Of course.
And I hope that you're willing to take a little ride with us with the hand pan music. Hopefully you can hear it okay. You guys hear it okay? Probably. Great to know, Bianca. Thank you. LeKross Ortiz, the other person that sometimes does the astrology show with us, his daughter had a baby like yesterday, I think it was. All right. I want to invite you to take a minute To ground and center. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes if you can. And just let that tension run off of you. Just take a minute to take a few deep breaths. And I want you to imagine yourself under the night sky. Staring up at the beautiful night sky with the stars going as far as you can see them. And they just seem to go forever. And one constellation sticks out, and within it is a planet known as Mercury. And Mercury is quickly moving forward, and then you witness it slow down. You witness it just kind of slow down. And then it begins to go the other way. Making communication come backwards. Making our vehicles, our transportation not work correctly. Making it harder to go forward. Making it a challenge. But it also pushes us to reflect, to look within, to review our choices, and to take from this something inspiring. Planet continues to go backwards from our perspective. We recognize this moment to redo things. Maybe change the way we were doing it before. With excitement and inspiration, simple change of beliefs, we are assured that no doubt the universe is unfolding exactly as it should. And as you take a deep breath, Mercury folds back up into that constellation, and that constellation folds back into the sky. As you view the stars that go on forever and are comforted in knowing that the universe holds you in perfect love and trust. Into your body, come back into the here and now. Feel your bottom on the seat. breath. Wiggle your toes and fingers. And come back to the here and now of Rainbow Soul Astrology Forecast. Well done, Bright Hawk.
Well, thank you for the journey with Mercury.
Yeah, I'm sure it was backwards and completely strange. Because, I'm a Virgo. And if you're a Virgo or a Gemini, right now you probably feel backwards. I feel backwards. I don't know what I'm doing. Everything's off today. I even feel kind of cranky. So I'm kind of like, wow, Hollis. But I'm pretty sure it's the astrology because it might also have something to do with the void moon this morning was in Libra, eh? So sometimes when the moon comes around and visits my moon, I start to, especially in a Mercury retrograde, I can see how that would lead me to be a little cranky. But I'm okay. I'm doing the best I can here. And I think that that's the important part is that sometimes when I don't have any, a long time ago when I was younger, I used to have moments of discourse or upset feelings and I would make up a story about it. Like, oh, so-and-so triggered me, or maybe it's because the way my mom did such and such or whatever like that. But now I don't do that anymore. Now I'm like, wonder what the astrology is because I feel like crap. And so I encourage you to consider the astrology on a day that you feel a little off, and to just know that it will pass, it will change. Because I think I made the problem worse by making up stories, especially in my 20s.
Yeah, it's easy to do, and it definitely doesn't help you, I'm a storyteller, so make sure you're telling yourself a good story. And if you have a crappy story, rewrite it. Because there's nothing worse than wrapping yourself up in fear because you've made up some fiction, made something bigger than it is.
Yeah.
When we do that, and we've all done it, I'm pretty sure, it just usually doesn't lead us to good places.
Mm-hmm. And I think as a Virgo, I tend to want to look for I'm a problem solver, so I want to look for the root cause, and I'm a Scorpio rising, so yeah. So Bianca said, I've been checking out my sun and I's natal charts and discovered we both have the same moon and rising signs. You know what the funny thing about that is, Bianca, is that oftentimes in families, the same sort of rising sign or moon sign, or sometimes my moon is in Libra and my sun is a Libra, like his sun is in Libra, but my moon is in Libra, and the moon represents mother, and of course the sun represents a son, a child, okay? Or it could also represent masculine energy or a man, okay? But sometimes the sun also can represent the light going forward, right? And so my sun is a Libra, and I think that that's pretty interesting. But what's weirder, okay, is when they're not blood related. That's weird. So Bright Hawk here is not necessarily blood related to my son. But while we were together, 6-7 years ago, our grandson was born. And his chart oddly matches Bright Hawk's chart.
Freakily.
It's a little strange. They're almost exactly the same. It's a little strange.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Both grandchildren, we all three of us have the same rising sign. And Rowan and I have the same rising, the same moon, and I call myself a Sagicorn because I'm the last seconds of Sagittarius. So I totally get a lot of Capricorn qualities, and he's a Capricorn.
But the
So,
weirder part is that you both have a yod pointing to your moon
and there you go.
in the same house.
Yeah, which is kind
Okay,
of
so
like
it's
over
really
the top
strange,
weird.
and a yod is really unusual pattern
It's
in the
very
chart. It's also
destined.
called a finger of God. It means like you're not gonna not do that. Okay, so like it's kind of a difficult thing, and I'm just like, oh wow, that's weird. So that's what makes it even stranger about the two of them. But what's interesting when you look at a child and parent or grandparents or even siblings charts is to see what their challenges and blessings will be. And a lot of times they have both. And families sometimes even are soulmates. So, um, uh, it's just the way it is. So, Lisa Masters in the Mediums group asked, "What is the instrument that Bright Hawk is playing? It's so beautiful."
Aw.
That instrument is
It's called a hand pan. Mine happens to be one of the originals. The inventor of the instrument is the company's called Hong, Hang, from Bern, Switzerland. So he came up with the design of the steel hand pan. Generically, we call it a hand pan. Now there's a variety of makers that have a variety of names and labels out there. But the Hong pan art, it happens to be in F major and is in dio tuning for other musicians out there. Yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to share.
hmm So, Jennifer asked if there's anything interesting you could tell me about myself, Aries. I'm just laughing, Jennifer, because that question in itself is a very Aries thing to do. Because this is a forecast for everyone for the whole week, and you're asking me to focus on you, which is just hilarious. I know it's all new to you, but that's an Aries thing to do. Aries is like, but what about me? Okay, and so I'm just laughing because it's hilarious. Bright Hawk does it too sometimes, being a Leo moon.
It's also the Mars. Aries, you're ruled by Mars, and Mars is active and sometimes aggressive, comes off aggressive to other people sometimes.
hmm
And Mars right now is also in Fire Leo. And so that fire energy is up this week. We have a grand fire trine in fire. You will feel it. The North Node is in Aries, your sign. So yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like Aries also, the fun thing about Aries that I think is the best thing about Aries is that Aries has like a million ideas, and you're just really good at coming up with ideas. You're not meant to see them through. Let me just say that. You're meant to just see it go through, okay? You're meant to give somebody the idea and then walk away. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay, so I think that's the best part about Aries. But this week, this broadcast here and now is for everyone. Okay, and we'll talk about the way different signs will be affected if it applies.
Yeah. So the person who said, I think is it Lisa?
Yeah, Lisa Masters.
I'm a Cancer. It's been really tough. Yeah. You know why? Because Pluto was opposite your sign in Capricorn. And it has been a slog, man. Oh, man. And now, if you saw our broadcast last week, the major event, the biggest headline of astrological
And I think it happened
news
over the weekend, like Friday, Saturday or something.
was when
Thursday.
Pluto left Capricorn for the last time in our lifetimes, and it will now reside in Aquarius for the next 20 years. Pluto, the very outside planet of the universe, our solar system, it takes 240 years to go around. And of course, those retrogrades, every planet has retrogrades. And retrograde means backwards motion, but it's not that the planet is actually going backwards. It's like that thing that happens when you pull up in traffic and one of you is slowing down more than the other one. It almost looks like they're going backwards, right? That's the illusion. That's what we talk about in retrograde. And retrograde is a time to review, do all the review, re-edit, reconsider, all those kinds of things. It is not a time to initiate and do all the things that you think of when you say initiate and forward motion.
Now, since we have so many new listeners today, I just want to mention that your chart is never just about your sun sign, okay? It just isn't. And frankly, Jennifer, if you're over 30, you're moving out of being in Aries and moving more into your rising sign. And the same thing goes for you, Lisa. While you might be a Cancer, your rising sign is actually more important, and it's becoming stronger within you. You'll grow into being your rising sign. And you'll also you'll also notice that the sun sign is only like when you meet someone for like a few minutes, right? Like that initial sort of idea about them or impression, okay? And that's the initial impression, unless they have a really strong rising by me, like me. But and then their rising sign is how, once you get to know them, then they have kind of a particular type of impression. And then if you get any kind of friendship with them at all, then you'll start to get to know their moon sign and their Venus sign and their Mars sign, even if you get to see them pissed off. Somebody gets mad, that's the Mars.
Where is the Mars?
Where is your Mars? Do you sit on it and go cry in your bathtub, or do you throw something at someone? Right? Okay, so that's going to depend on where your Mars is, and that's really what the story is. And that's why getting an astrology reading is so powerful, because everybody's chart is different.
Absolutely.
Everybody's chart is unique. So, like even somebody born on the same day, even twins have some unique differences, and they often express certain things in the same way. Okay, so sometimes a planet can have multiple meanings, and zodiac signs usually have a list of traits. Okay, so there you go. So there's a couple of things to keep in mind as you're listening to this, because if you don't see, Jennifer Brown said she's been known to throw microwaves. See what I mean? So I'm just saying, as an Aries, wham, you're going to throw it. And so I hope your Mars isn't in Aries too, because that would really throw it up there. But your Mars could be in a different fire sign. It could be in Sag or Leo. The Mars moves very quickly around the zodiac. So the thing is that that's the whole chart. Your whole chart is what matters, not just your sun sign, okay?
Absolutely.
So that's the important part that you need to remember. So
and it's such a great gift to give yourself or even your loved ones. It's an amazing map to how you do you, how to do you to the best of your abilities. I can remember several of my early readings, first, second, third reading, of realizing, oh, wow. So that's who I am? I'm not going to get that spot out. That's
No.
a freckle. Keep rubbing it. No, it's part of you. And it helps you make peace with the parts of you that you might be trying to change in a silly manner.
That's why I said that about Aries, because Aries often gives themselves a really hard time because our culture says you should do something and then stick with it, but that's not the Aries role. An Aries role is, unless they're like a Taurus rising or Capricorn rising or something, they're probably going to give you a great idea and then move on to the next person that needs a great idea, okay? That's really their strength. And so to expect a regular Aries person to follow through would be, I don't know, just kind of silly, okay? So here we go. So first of all, as we mentioned a little bit ago, right now, Mercury's in retrograde. On Monday evening, Mercury goes retrograde in Sagittarius.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to add.
Mm-hmm. It's going to affect mostly the strongest, the people that are going to really, really feel it are Virgo, Gemini, and Sagittarius, I would say, would be the strongest, because or if you have something in Sagittarius down there, or strong planets in Gemini. So if you have like a Gemini moon, or you're Virgo or Gemini, or you have something in Sag, then you're going to probably notice it more than the average Joe. But most of us are going to at least experience some issues with communication. And, Mercury retrograde gets a really bad rap. But there are some ways to prevent some of those things from happening. For instance, if your car's been showing some signs, and I give you a warning, although now is a little too late, Mercury's going retrograde, then that's when you, do something about it, okay? And so what you want to do is you want to be careful about, making sure your computer or your car or your phone are all handled, because Mercury rules communication and transportation. And the three things I just said was computer, phone, and car or vehicle, your transportation. So those are the things that it's going to affect the most. It doesn't just make everyone's life a living hell, which is kind of like what it has a reputation for.
Right. Which is kind of silly. People usually get very exaggerated. And, each Mercury retrograde, they're not always the same length of time. And this one isn't that long. It goes until, well, I would really love it if you brought the chart up.
Sure. Yeah.
Create the deck. I'd like to be able to
Yeah.
reference the notes. December 15th. There it is. So December 15th is not that long of a retrograde. And of course, Mercury rules Gemini, so it's opposite its sign in Sagittarius. When we look at the wheel of the chart, we often look at the axis points, what's opposite, what's conjoined or conjunct, because those influence each other a lot. It's the push me, pull me oppositions of the, far away energies, as far away from each other as they can be from home.
I think about Mercury retrograde and the fact that it's opposite that Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. So if you didn't know, Jupiter's been retrograde since like right before the election, which usually when Jupiter's going direct, it will make rights right. Okay, so, and the good will win. But when Jupiter goes retrograde, the opposite happens. And then what happens is like negative people or not so great people or not so great communication is what I'm thinking could possibly happen with Mercury going retrograde and Gemini. And in fact, it could even be in a way that you could even make yourself look bad, or someone else could accidentally do that. Someone else could make themselves look bad just by saying some kookiness. But with Jupiter retrograde, directly opposite Mercury, it just makes me think about the two of them, like pulling on each other and not exactly being the greatest of energy, like you were saying.
Right.
And then, of course, Neptune is retrograde, too.
Right.
So, we got a lot of backwards energy going on right now.
Yeah, so the thing that's going to happen next week, and, we'll get to it when we get to it, but December 7th is when Neptune will finally go direct after being retrograde for a very long time.
I don't know. It's pretty much the fake, and it's pretty much like the source of fake news, you guys. So if you wonder where that comes, it's very much about being under an illusion.
But it can also be about dreams and creativity. So,
but it's backwards. Huh?
Yeah, but it's backwards in its home sign, of course, and so. Yeah, that's been going on for a really long time. So this is the last week and a half, I would say, of Neptune being retrograde. And we still, of course, have Mars opposite Pluto. It's not as precise as it was. So...
and Mars is in Leo.
Right.
So if you have some Leo placements, you're probably feeling Mars there right now. for some people, it could make you a little bit more arrogant or make you feel assertive or aggressive, um, depending on what you have in Leo. Okay?
And this is also the last 10 days, I guess, because I think it's December 7th as well, that Mars will go retrograde until February. And if you recall, we've talked about Mars going retrograde means that if you are aggressive or you really pushing on something, the universe tends to push back and it can be really detrimental. It can be a boomerang that you were like, geez.
Oops.
So it's one of those times where I highly recommend when Mars goes retrograde, you do not engage in conflict, you do not pursue legal matters, you do not initiate aggressive behaviors because it could really be a backfire on you.
Yep.
So that's, not for another 10 days, but at any rate, that's
right.
coming.
So Brandy said my sun is a Gemini moon in Sag, so I think she means and a Sag and a Leo rising. Okay, so he's probably having a little bit of an intense time. Oh, your sun is in Gemini, moon is in Sag, and a Leo rising. I see. So even Brandy, you're probably experiencing a little bit of you're probably going to notice this energy right now with Mars around your ascendant, with Mercury going retrograde on top of your moon, and your sun being opposite there. You must have been born around an eclipse. And my Mars, she said my Mars is in Cancer. So, Brandy, you might be experiencing a little bit of depression and downward, as when Mars goes backwards, it's going to go back into Cancer. And the thing about Mars and Cancer is that sometimes it feels like, yeah, you're going to retreat, but you're also going to feel like a little down, maybe depressed, maybe lacking motivation. Just hang on till the end of January and it will all go. Just get through that time. And she said that my Scorpio husband, Mars, is in Scorpio. So the thing about Mars and Scorpio is that it's really harsh. It can sometimes be very intense. And so I would be concerned about the two of you getting along. So I would hope that the two of you could find a way to get along in a good way. Be careful not to say mean things to each other that you can't take back. And I would particularly give that to him because he is a Scorpio. Mars and Scorpio.
Into your noble Leo lion, because your noble Leo will want you to act with integrity.
That's right. Right.
Because I have a Leo moon.
Brandy, I'm sorry that your husband has passed, but I'm just saying that's one of the things is like the fact that, but I'm more concerned about your depression as Mars moves back into Cancer. So then that's really what that's gonna.
So energetically, this applies to absolutely everyone because everyone has Mars in the sky and in their chart. When Mars goes retrograde, we all lose energy because Mars is our action planet. It's our forward motion planet. It's our initiator planet and take action.
And I think Mars
when it goes retrograde for 3 months, December, January, February, but mid-February it comes back out. Give yourself some time to be a winter hibernator and take cozy times because you just might need it. You just might not be able to push yourself to do one more thing, and you might just need to sit by the fire or take a bath.
Right?
Whatever is your pleasure, and be good to yourself because Mars retrogrades they're kind of rough that way. You kind of lose some of your mojo and going, what the frick is wrong with me?
No, Brandy, it's not necessarily your age. It's just going to be a little like that for a little while, probably till spring, and then you'll feel a whole lot better. Just know that it's time to go inwards and do any healing that you need to do. Mars and Cancer, I would say educate yourself as much as possible. and learn as much as you can. That will help you feel better. Okay. Bianca said, "Oh no, I'm a Sagittarius and my husband is a Virgo." Shit. um, yeah. So Bianca, you just want to be careful that you try not to be mean to each other. Try not to say things that you can't take back because that's a very Mercury in retrograde thing to do. So
Yeah, just go for a walk.
Sarah,
Cool off.
You must have Mars in Scorpio because not every Scorpio is aggressive. It's probably more about where your Mars is. Because I'm a Scorpio rising and I almost never feel aggressive. So when I do, I'm like, what's wrong with me? Okay, like it just doesn't usually happen. But my Mars is in Gemini. Okay, and my Scorpio is, and I'm a Scorpio rising, which is stronger than your Scorpio sun. Okay, I'm more Scorpio than you. Okay. So yeah, so the thing is, today is very much about Mercury retrograde. You may have felt a little slowed down. You might feel like communication. You might feel like your computer's giving you a hard time. I know I've had that problem today. I've also felt like nothing would work today. Everything I tried to do didn't happen. It was just silly things, and it was really dumb things. And Charlie, my dog,
I don't know
is
if you
like,
could hear
they
Charlie
probably
lapping
can.
up his water.
They
It's
probably
just
can.
hilarious to me.
Yeah. But I can change it so that they.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so as we go on, we're going into Tuesday, which is tomorrow.
Well, I wanted to talk for a minute
Okay.
about there's a grand trine in fire that lasts most of the week. So what that means when we have a grand trine is that it's all the fire elements are unified. And so in this case, we have the Sagittarius sun, we have Mars in Leo, which is fire, and we have the North Node in Aries. And so that grand trine actually lasts for several throughout the week, I think until like Friday. So what does that mean? Well, fire is all about action,
Passion,
and spark
Conflict.
of creativity.
conflict.
Hopefully not. I know Hollis was always saying that, like, oh, please, may there be no more amplification of war. We really don't want that.
We really don't want it. Yeah.
I am really praying for more peace, more love, more peace on earth. Boy, oh boy.
Right.
So trines, if you aren't familiar, are blessings. They're the very favorable aspect in astrology, very complementary. So it usually means there's a flow and a blessing and things fall into place in a good way. So it might give you confidence because of the sun in Sagittarius, helping you have a good time, helping you bring the life of the party, helping you be Sagittarius, of course, is known for being both philosophical and gregarious, I guess you could say. I'm a Sag, of course. If you don't know, my birthday's winter solstice. So I'm the last seconds of Sagittarius. They call that the anaretic degree in astrology. Okay, so the moon.
Okay.
The moon is, tell me if you noticed this morning that things were chill because the moon was at the very end of Libra and what we call, the very end of Scorpio this morning. Or no, Virgo. Virgo precedes Libra, Scorpio follows. Okay, so we've talked a lot about how the moon changes signs every 2.5 days. And when it gets to the end of a sign and there's no more Ptolemaic aspects, there is a moment that's called the void of course, where it's like, take a deep breath. You're going from a air sign into a water sign, Libra's air.
Mm-hmm.
Libra's air. So going into an air sign from an earth sign, we were back in Virgo. And those are different elements. There's a different energy there. So there's this void moment. And sometimes it's just a few minutes. And sometimes it's a number of hours. So this morning, from about 5:30 Mountain Time, just for you. If you're on the East Coast, that'd be 7:30. West Coast would be 4:30 in the morning to 11:20. Just before noon, the moon was void, which means it's chill energy. Ideally, you're doing self-care, meditating, doing yoga, doing things that are no drama, no initiating, just being. Because the void moon is the moon that has the least amount of energy. It's void. Okay? So, did you have a chill morning?
I did.
And if you tried to initiate things,
I
did they
didn't try
not
until
work?
after that time. Yeah, so like between when I woke up at like 6 in the morning until 11, I mostly just sat around and was really quiet. I did have my breakfast, but I didn't do a whole lot. I didn't get anything done before noon.
Right. So we try to always let you know about the void of course moons because I think it's a very interesting thing that you can really actually use to your advantage. Like one of the things you can do during a void of course moon is because it's no drama. If there's somebody you need to talk to or something that you need to just get this through, so this doesn't have to take a lot of energy, you could actually leverage those times.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what I did try to initiate was getting our car worked on, which is, of course, a Mercury retrograde
kind of thing.
All of a sudden, I guess we had bad gas or something. Our new car is like not running right, and the check engine light is on, and whatever. We'll get through it. But I'm just saying. Yeah. So this morning, I was trying to call around and figure out what to do and look it up, and that was probably not smart to do on a void moon.
So the Mercury retrograde goes until December 15th.
Yeah. So Bianca was asking when how long does Mercury retrograde?
Yeah.
How long is it?
December 15th.
Yeah, so it's actually a pretty short one this time. I will say that it's stronger when it goes in and when it comes out. Like in the beginning, like these next, like yesterday, today, and tomorrow, maybe even Wednesday. But then it will kind of smooth out for a little while. You'll have any problems you're gonna have, and then it will go retrograde. When it goes direct again, you might feel it. So those are the times that you feel it the most, Bianca. Just so you know.
And anyone with strong Sagittarius placements, we're all gonna feel it.
Yeah. Yeah, but certain people will feel it more, and that, like I said, Virgo, Gemini, and Sag. If you have any placements, that would mean the moon, your rising, or the sun there, you're probably going to feel it pretty intensely.
And for those of us who have Mercury retrograde, like moi, it'll be return to an energy that you're very familiar with, and it won't be a big deal.
Yeah, so if you look at your chart, and Mercury kind of looks like a little non-binary sign, like it has a little, like it has Mars and Venus on it sometimes. Sometimes it looks like a Venus with like a little circle on its head, like a half moon on top. Depends on what you're looking at. But Mercury, if you can find Mercury in your chart, and then look if it says a little RX or R next to it, or the numbers are red, then that probably means it's retrograde. Okay?
And about 40% of people, I think was the statistic I heard once.
Yeah, that's about right.
Have Mercury retrograde. So for us, it could actually be quite beneficial.
Yeah. Cheryl's probably going to feel. Cheryl said, "Oh my gosh, hello, Mercury retrograde, fun for my Virgo Gemini self." Exactly, Cheryl. Like, just things might not go the way we planned, but thank goodness, Cheryl, we mostly just experienced it together, and we can just roll our eyes and keep going.
There you go.
That's a Mercury retrograde
Cheryl,
thing.
I was born 20. The reason they call me Bright Hawk, if you never knew why my name is Bright Hawk, it's because I'm a bright light born on a dark night. I was born at 20 to 12 midnight on 12/20. A bright light was born on a very dark night.
That's why she's called Bright Hawk.
So
Amber, I'm not sure what supplement. I probably told you I take several supplements for my hormones.
that's
So,
so funny.
just if you can give me more information, I might be able to help you. Okay, so then as we go on to Tuesday, we still mostly not quite have that mystic rectangle, that grand trine. It's not quite there. But oh yeah, we do have one. There it is. There it is. Okay. It just got twisted around. And then Mercury, of course, is still retrograde, so you might feel that. I would say that Tuesday could be difficult, again, especially for Mercury, for the people that are affected by Mercury retrograde, which would be Virgo, Gemini, and Sagittarius this time. If you have any strong placements there, you're probably going to feel it.
And the moon is in Libra, which means that Libra is ruled by Venus. And so the moon is going to answer to Venus. Venus, of course, is in
Capricorn.
Thank you. Venus is in Capricorn. And so, and the moon, if you find yourself reflecting to tomorrow about the past, or maybe you find yourself
But
having
it's going to be about money.
Yeah, because the moon is conjunct the South Node. And the South Node is about our past lives, past relations, potentially past karma, things like that. So you might find yourself sort of reflecting about the past, or maybe you end up with a conversation of somebody with the past. And it's in a square to Venus, so it's an active conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Venus, of course, is all about relationships and helping us realize the good things in life, the things we value. And it's also in a trine to Jupiter, which is a very positive aspect indeed. And so Jupiter, of course, is all about blessings. But Jupiter is retrograde as well. And so when planets are retrograde, they behave sort of opposite their forward path, right? Which is why we're always talking about reflecting. And Jupiter is still retrograde, so it's still in that reflective, right? Yeah.
And I see that eventually
yeah.
in this Mercury retrograde later this week, probably in a few days, Mercury and Jupiter are going to be in mutual reception.
Yeah.
So knowing where that axis is in your chart, where Sagittarius and Gemini are in your chart, could be helpful. So if you look at your circle chart and you see what house it's in, that will tell you what part of your life it will affect, the Mercury retrograde. And then if it's opposite something, it means the two could change sides. So they could Jupiter could come down to Sagittarius, and Mercury could go up into Gemini, which could make
which it rules.
Yeah, but and that's really what it means. It just means that the energy could be really kind of, actually I think it could be kind of on the intense side, and it could get really feel really intense about whatever's going on for you. Okay. And be careful of your beliefs, okay? Like, that's the part where you have to be careful of, because usually beliefs are what feeds into what we're thinking or saying anyway, but beliefs is ruled by Jupiter, and so be careful about belief systems that you have. Those beliefs might, you might say something that offends someone about their beliefs or something like that. And any of that kind of thing can happen. Okay. So I would just say be careful with that. Oh my gosh. Bianca has the same birthday as you. 12/20.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
But Bianca, that also means that you're a Capricorn cusp. So you should always listen to Capricorn as well.
We're the cusp of prophecy. No pressure. You know, we're here to change the world, babe. For the better.
All right.
Be a lighthouse.
As we move on into Wednesday, I mean, I feel like Mars is slowing down. So I feel like the energy is going to start slowing down. And this is kind of what Christopher Renstrom was saying, is that technically Mars retrograde begins on this day. So that's really going to speak to Leo, because that's where Mars is, Aries, because Mars rules Aries, and Scorpio, because that's really where Mars rules. Okay, so Mars rules our energies, and so you could find that you don't have as much energy, or you could find that you're saying things, especially like if you're me and you got Virgo and Scorpio, good grief, I'm probably just gonna like glue my mouth shut for the next 3 days. But like, yeah, so you could say some things, you could do some things, anything like that. That's going to be the Mars retrograde. Mars going to slow down, so that's going to slow action down. So you might want to try to get things done Monday, Tuesday, which I'm currently struggling with because Mercury's in retrograde. But I did start to make some progress after the void moon. But you know, just know that try to get the things done.
And those of you who have strong moon placements, or maybe you're psychic because of your moon placements, this is a very powerful moon because there is a yod, a finger of God pointing to the moon, which means it's destiny. And so what that means in terms of like what that configuration looks like, it's 2 inconjunctions, and inconjunctions are, 150 degrees. It's like not the 180. And it's a challenging energy, to be perfectly honest, because you don't have a lot of choice in the matter. You kind of have to follow your destiny. And I suppose the choice in the matter is you could go kicking and screaming, or you could, see what the universe is trying to get you to do and do it, right? So the planets involved are Uranus. Woo! Hello, Uranus is the planet of revolution, change, unexpected.
But it's retrograde.
But it's retrograde. And Neptune, which is also retrograde. And so, and then the moon is also square Pluto. So like, it's kind of an intense moon day, I'm just going to say. And sort of resolves with the void of course moon at 9:15 p.m. So at 9:15 until 12:21, so it goes into the next day, go to bed, take a bath, sit by the fire, do something really chill.
Yeah.
Just take care of yourself.
Wednesday night, take a chill pill. Go relax.
Just
go listen to something
surprised
inspiring.
If Wednesday feels like, oh my God.
Yeah,
sorry,
so if you're cooking or something for the holiday,
just have fun.
If you're
with
American,
good music, listen to good music, and yeah, Wednesday, the evening, you're gonna probably want that shift, that time where you can just go, oh, okay, I've done everything I can do in a day. It's time to take a break.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Ed really likes the chart. He said. So it's okay. I can do it. But it just takes me a few minutes. So, what I wanted to also say was that, Hannah said that they were, just came back from talking to my granddaughter. We're talking about the future. And I'm just going to say that would have a lot to do with Mercury and Sagittarius. It is a time to think about travel, where you want to be in the future, your belief systems based on that. And a lot of kind of like that kind of energy, because then, that really like
Sagittarius rules long journeys and trips and, adventure and, but it's also, Sages also, are pretty deep spiritual. They're not just party animals. Some people want to just make us out to be party animals. But the fact that Sag rules long journeys and all kinds of travel is with Mercury. Did you get the chart?
Yeah, I got it up.
Bigger?
Not on here. Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, but I can do it on here.
Okay.
But I just wanted to say that, to you, Hannah, because, and even though your daughter is an Aries, you don't know where your Mercury is, you don't know where your moon is, you don't know your rising, you don't know where your Mars and Venus are. Also, you would want to pay attention to Uranus. So there's, because Uranus is also about your life path and things like that. And right now, Uranus is retrograde in Taurus. So Uranus is the most progressive planet. It's up there in the future. It's trying to take off with us. Okay. It's revolutionary. It's about the future. And Taurus is the opposite of that. It's really about going back. It's really about staying the same and not changing things. So if you wondered why there's such a strong conservative movement right now, that's why. Because, and I truly believe that that's true.
Wow.
I think when Uranus gets into Gemini, a lot of people are going to find themselves changing. And there might be a split, but I don't think it will stay that long. It might split a little bit harder, but then I think it's going to come back together, and it's going to be like we're going to be twins and we're all going to be working together for one thing. I really think that's Uranus is going to change it. But I'm just saying, so if you've wondered why it's such a conservative time, and this is happening all over the world if you take a look. Okay, so Hannah said, yeah, we kids and I don't want the same dynamic as my family. That's good. Holidays are hard for me. I don't have family to celebrate with, really. My kids and I have decided we're all staying close so we can celebrate together. That sounds fun, Hannah. That's great. I don't have any family either, Hannah. So we're going to a friend's house. So, it's not, I don't have any family to go. I mean, I have a child, but he lives in Pennsylvania, and I'm just not interested in having that kind of Thanksgiving anymore anyway. Okay. So here we are on Wednesday, and what I'm saying here is that Mars is slowing down. So I'm worried about all the chefs out there that are going to feel pressured, that are going to be worried about their Thanksgiving dinner. Try to take it easy. Try to take a deep breath. I would definitely say to collaborate and get some help, and try to make the best of it in that way, especially with the Mercury and Sag. It could really help bring up the energy. It could really help add positive energy to it, I think. And then it also it could, I think, because of the moon's in Libra on Wednesday, I think that would add like a collaborative energy. It would probably be better that way.
Yeah, I was thinking that, hopeful for that. And hopefully there's some healing as well.
Yeah, so then as we go on into Thursday, I do see that we continue with that grand trine, but I am going to say that it makes me a little nervous because fiery energy can sometimes be aggressive or assertive. It can be conflict sometimes. And Mars is in Leo, and it's starting to slow down, and it's going to go backwards. And it's literally at 5 degrees Leo, so it's not very far from Pluto. It's going to go back across and be opposite Pluto again, which, if you were paying attention to the world stage, that was when when the war amped up over there in the Ukraine, and there was some not so great things on a world scale. So just saying. The good news is that I'm pretty sure it looks like it looks like a lot of things are trying to go direct, but they haven't gone yet. Saturn's direct in Pisces, which is helpful. So when we get to Thursday with that Scorpio moon, I feel like that could really transform some things, really change things. I think.
I'm sorry, it shouldn't say Scorpio. And the void moon ends at 12:20, and then it goes into Sagittarius. Or no, it is in Scorpio. I'm sorry, I did get it right. So a word about Scorpio and the Scorpio moon. Scorpio moons are super intuitive, super psychic. see it before anyone else even knows what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be a little careful because of that. They can speak a truth that sometimes people aren't ready to hear. And the response will be like, I'm just speaking the truth, And so Scorpio moons.
I'm a Scorpio rising, so I sometimes do that.
Yeah, very, very psychic. And of course, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and so when the moon is in Scorpio, it's answering to Pluto, which right now
It's in Aquarius.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So the nice thing is that it is Thursday. The moon is in a square to Leo that day. The thing about that makes me think about that is that, like, the moon, which is intuitively forward thinking in Scorpio, is in a square to its ruling planet, which just means you could be an extra pushy on Thursday or extra zealous about something. Especially me. I'm thinking me. Oh my gosh, Hollis. But just don't over push things. Don't over say things or over commit, or try not to overdo things on Thursday. Okay.
Yeah, that's probably good advice.
Yeah, I think it's really important. And then we'll go forward into what's this Friday. The moon is still in Scorpio, but it's a little bit farther away from that Mars now, and it's deeper in Scorpio, which I think is good. But I will say that the energy is still intense. I feel like with the Mercury retrograde and then Mars going retrograde, I feel like we're going to be like, bam, bam, like that this week. Like, it's just going to feel like that.
Yeah. When the moon, when it's waning down to its last little bit before it becomes the new moon, we call it the dark phase of the moon, a very contemplative time to think about maybe what were your intentions at the last new moon, because the new moon is when you want to set intentions and think about what it is that you want to go forward to do. And of course, this is a pretty bright, happy Sag new moon. So what is it that you want to birth in this new moon? So the last phase is waning energy. So hopefully that waning energy on Thursday, it makes it for a less dramatic Thanksgiving, in case you need less drama.
Hopefully.
Because I think we have enough drama in
I don't know. I think moms are going to be dramatic on Thursday.
Oh boy.
So if you're hanging out with your mom, just like, especially if she has Scorpio placements, I would just like give her a huge birth. Okay. And just be forgiving. Because the astrology could make it a little intense on Thursday. Hannah is asking, what does it mean to be square? I'm a little bit confused about that. It's pretty simple, Hannah. A square is difficult. It's challenging. But the good news about a square is that it's easy to overcome.
And it makes things happen.
Mm-hmm.
So a square means you've got to take action. You got to make a decision. Is it this way or this way? What are you going to do? And so it can be a bit of a challenge because it forces you to take action in some respects.
Excuse me. Mm-hmm.
Where a trine feels like a real blessing, and it feels like, wow, God, things fell into place so easily. I'm so delighted. So a square can be a little bit of a challenge, but it's a great opportunity to take action.
And it's better than an opposition. I would say that I'd rather have a square than an opposition. An opposition, though, you have to find balance. Okay. So that's the trick between the two planets that are opposite each other. And then a square, there's a solution. You just have to work at it a little bit. And then an inconjunct it's almost impossible, but not impossible. So it'd be a little bit of a compromise is usually what an inconjunct is. And those are the challenging aspects. When planets are on top of each other, when a planet is on top of something else, we call that conjunct. And that just means that their energy mixes together. Okay. Now I think the Uranus trine Pluto, and Neptune, I think that whole energy going on there with Pluto and Neptune, and even Uranus, I think that's what we're seeing on the world stage. The thing about those planets is that they're bigger.
Generational.
And, yeah, they're more about like our generation and about our world and our culture, the things we see in the news. And that's more of the Uranus. And it's retrograde. And like I said before, it's very much conservative. You can see it. It's in Taurus. Pluto has moved into Aquarius. So if you were wondering when the revolution was coming, it's here. And Neptune is in its ruling sign. It's still retrograde. So that means we're still getting fake news. We're still not seeing the truth. And we're still, there's still things that are like illusion. There's an illusion.
And there's a sense of a lot of things unfolding, because the next 2 weeks, there's literally this unfolding of one planet moving in and out of another, the retrogrades changing and things. And so it's we've chose this time to be together. We chose this time to be on Earth. It's hard to see around the corners at this point. So that's one of the things that I love about astrology, is it gives you some sense of the weather, the winds, the tides, whatever metaphor you want to use. But frankly, I don't know how people live their lives without understanding astrology.
Neither of us do, but
it would be really hard.
Yeah. Hannah has a great question.
What's
so
that?
A square could refer to the placement of planets that show a challenge. Kind of. It's when two planets are 90 degrees apart, or it could be like 92 or 95 degrees apart. When there are that many, so there's 30 degrees in each sign, in each zodiac, in this type of astrology. There are different types, but in Placidus, and tropical, which is what we're doing, okay, it tends to, if they're like 95 degrees apart, or if they're exactly 90 degrees, then it's going to be stronger at that time. The challenge is going to be stronger. But as they get a little bit further, let's say 95, or even as they're like 87, they're not quite square yet, not quite a perfect square, will be leading up to that challenge. So it will kind of build up, and then it will peak at 90 and then kind of break down again. Okay, and so that happens with all different aspects, which we talked about, which square is 90 degrees, opposite is opposite in the sky. They're literally opposite. And then a trine is 120 degrees. And conjunct, like as I said, they're on top of each other. Those are the most important ones. So as we move on for the week, into Saturday and Sunday this weekend.
Saturday's the new moon, and it happens at, what does that say, 11:20 p.m.? Yeah, I did the exact minute. That's this chart of when the new moon happens at 9 degrees Sagittarius, conjunct Mercury.
Okay.
And again, that really amplifies the Grand Fire Trine with Mars in the North Node. So there could be some energy for that. Some hopefully fun. Hopefully you're in a fun space. Your best happy selves. And the moon will be void in the morning before it goes into Sagittarius. It from 6 a.m., 6:18 a.m. till just about noon Mountain Time. So again, take the Saturday morning to do yoga, have pancakes, whatever's your pleasure. Take care of yourself. Do things for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be running around shopping. Well, maybe it's a non-dramatic time to go shopping. I don't know. Whatever it is you're saying, man. I wouldn't do a lot of shopping during Mercury retrograde myself.
No, I'm like kind of regretting that I didn't already get the grandchildren a gift. Maybe I'll wait till last minute. Because then Mercury will be out of retrograde. Because Mercury's in my house of money. So it's really priceless to know where is Sagittarius in your chart. Like, so for me, it's in my house of money. And so I'm kind of like, okay, be careful of how you spend money. And I'll still probably make a mistake or something, but what's really important is that I'm aware of it, because if I wasn't aware of it, I may have spent money on things that weren't a good idea. Okay. So there's been a couple of times where I've been like, let's not do that right now.
Right.
But I did decide that it was a good idea to replace the fan. Hopefully that was a good idea.
I think that was good.
I mean, it was Mercury retrograde. It was like either the other one catches on fire and I have to have a fan. So,
Don't want the fan catching on fire.
Yeah. So, so you have to make the choice that you have to make, but at the same time, just keep aware that, wherever Mercury is in your chart. So look and see where Sagittarius is. Look and see where Gemini is. Okay. Because it's going to be opposite that. And I would look, and if you're a Virgo, I would just be real careful with your communication. And it will depend if you're a Scorpio rising. If you're a Scorpio rising, I can assure you that Mercury is in your second house of money. Okay. So, because I know that, because I'm a Scorpio rising. Okay. So that's the kind of thing that you're going to want to pay attention to. If you look and see in your chart those little pieces of the pie, if you look and see where Mercury is in your chart, you'll be able to tell where the Mercury retrograde will hit you the hardest. Okay. So I've been real careful about, like, my car. I mentioned my car having some issues with some bad gas. I've been like, do I need to pay to get this repaired, or do I just put really good gas in it and some gas cleaner stuff thing, and hope for the best, and to be honest, I'm not sure. So I'm just doing the best I can. So that's what I mean. That's an example of how you can be aware. And I know, Brighthawk, your Sagittarius is in your third house of community. So then you would be aware of what you say to community and how you interact with community, and be careful of, that kind of thing. And it could probably also approach your fourth house of your family of origin. So, well, yeah. I've taken care of some things that all my sisters will be impacted tomorrow. So, in a good way. So that feels good. It's usually not good to have any kind of surgery or anything during Mercury retrograde. So if you can put that off until December, that's also a good idea. Okay. And the other main thing we always say is, if you have choices about these things, especially surgeries, avoid full moons. It's really not a great time to do things like that. And, consult an astrologer, get a reading. Yeah. They're really helpful in helping you find the best timing for things. All right. Looking at the presidential election, it was frustrating to see that the campaigns obviously don't have astrologers, and if they did, how to make it work better for y'all. Yeah. Would have been. Yeah. Could have been. Coulda, woulda. Anyway. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Yeah. Wasn't meant Sunday. To be. Did we finish Sunday? Not yet. December 1st. December the 1st. So on Sunday, the Grand Trine and Fire is still there. Mars is about to go retrograde, so we're really starting to slow down. I do notice that Venus is approaching the last degrees of Capricorn. That's probably okay, except that it is in a square to Chiron. Again, I'm just saying, money, you might want to be careful of how you spend your money. I don't know, just Venus and Capricorn always makes me think of money right away. Yeah, because Capricorn is all about money and practical and business. And Venus can be about money or relationships. Yeah, values. What do you there's two kinds of wealth, right? There's the
kind that's monetary, and then there's the kind that's a rich life, right? Venus helps you understand them both. And of course, the sun, new moon, the moon, which is a new moon, and Mercury are all conjunct and opposite Jupiter. And Jupiter
In
is also about
Sagittarius.
fortune. And so fortune, and Jupiter's still retrograde. So that opposition has kind of a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Those three together.
And it still starts to make me think about, stellium and Sag. So we want to have a good time,
Mm-hmm.
but there could be somebody that tries to ruin our good time,
Mm-hmm.
or there could be a person that just brings you down, or
Well,
it could be about overindulgence.
Yeah, because of the Saturn square. So Saturn is sometimes referred to as dad, the father who's very strict and disciplinarian, and a square means, what are you doing? Are you getting it done?
And
so
it's
there
in
can
a
have
square.
a kind of a little bit of a pulling energy.
Yeah, it's making that T square with the, both squaring the Saturn's, squaring the moon and
Mm-hmm.
Jupiter. So so it could be a little intense this weekend. I would avoid certain relationships if you can. So Bianca, your Sagittarius is in the 6th house. So I'm gonna say that actually what you want to look at is your health and your day-to-day life.
Your daily living.
Your daily living and your wellness and your health. So with Sagittarius in the 6th house, I would be careful about your mobility. Try not to pull any muscles.
Don't be aggressive.
Just don't be aggressive or assertive. I would just slow down. Try not to rush. I could totally see you like falling or tripping on something. And that would be a total Sagittarius thing. That's just a Sag thing.
Pay attention to your feet.
And it's in your feet and your legs, and your back. So that would be your things, Bianca, is that Sagittarius in the 6th house that's what it's about. It's all about your wellness, day-to-day life, your job, maybe, if you work on a day-to-day basis, and with Mercury in there.
So Sag is also about, it's a mutable energy. So, there's an impulsivity to Sagittarius. I'll be the first to admit it. And so, that's what we're talking about when we say slow down a little bit, where it's like, the beginning of the year when I broke my leg, what was I doing? Carrying too many things in the dark, missed the last step of the stool, all that kind of thing, right? And I just thought, just do it all in one load so you don't have to do another one. Oh my goodness, what a bad idea that was. So, you don't do these things on purpose, but we definitely want to look out, watch your feet, don't multitask, just do one thing at a time.
Slow down.
Take really good care of yourself.
Just slow down. So, Hannah, if yours is in the 5th house, that's going to be about children.
Oh, you were just talking about your kids.
So, you were just talking about your kids. So, but what that's going to mean, Hannah, for you, is that you might need to be careful about your relationship with your kids. Like, be careful what you commit to. Be careful with even what they commit to you. They may not follow through. They might say something they don't mean. So those are the kinds of things that I would be aware of, Hannah. Could also have to do with creativity and romance, but since you just mentioned your kids, I would imagine it's your kids because you were just talking about your kids. So that's what makes the most sense. So that's why I tell you all the meaning, though, just in case, because just that's Mercury retrograde. Okay. So it really depends on where Sagittarius is in your house and in what house it's in. And that really will tell us what part of your life it will be affecting. Okay. So that's really the best way to do it. That's one good way, easy way to do it. you can also look and see where your Jupiter is, and that will probably also tell us a little bit more information about what will be happening. Okay? Because Jupiter rules Sagittarius.
Excellent.
Okay, so I'm going to pull 3 cards right now.
Coolio.
Hannah says, "Oh, face plant. We had a huge, serious decision about things at home. I should be gracious with my kids." Yeah, yeah. Hannah, today, like right now, is Mercury retrograde. Like tonight, like right now.
Yeah, and like Hollis said at the beginning, just a reminder: if it feels super intense at the beginning, not to worry. It doesn't usually feel like that the entire time. At the beginning and at the very end is usually.
But it
when
sounds
most
like
of
she
us
just
feel
made
it
a huge
intensely.
decision with the children.
Oh boy.
So what I would just not be attached to it, Hannah. That's what I've had to do. I've made some decisions. I've had to make some pretty strong decisions about things. Like I even committed to doing a website and some other things like that, like work related, which is of course money related for me. And so then I'm like, and so just sometimes you have to just do these things because they come up. And so you should just do them. But in the back of your mind, keep in mind that that commitment was made in Mercury retrograde and it might be changed, reviewed, or renewed, or somehow redone at some point. Okay, so it might just change how it's expressed or something. It might just, okay. And you should, if somebody changes their mind in December, don't be surprised. Okay? So, this next 3 cards, these 3 cards are pulled from the Pride or Love is Love deck from Amazon. It's an LGBTQ deck. Every single card is done by a different LGBTQ artist. So the first card is about the past or the history. And Spirit wants us to think about what has happened in the past. And this is an interesting card because I've been teaching tarot classes, and I've really spent a lot of time with this card recently to explain why there's good and not so good things all on one card. But it's the Wheel of Fortune. Explain that, Hollis. And that's because this is about what we do with that fortune. This is about, think about the Wheel of Fortune as a fortunate thing that's given to you, but you could totally screw it up. Like, in other words, you could win $1 million and then be in debt 3 days later. Why? Because you just blew all the money on a brand new airplane or something stupid. Okay? So, like, that's what this is about. This is about the fortune and what you did with it in the past. So, be aware of anything fortunate that did come to you in the past. And just pay attention to how you spent it, how you used it, how you expressed it, okay? And then in the here and now, this is very much about fighting for our rights, standing up for our rights, and fighting the shadows in the background. This is about taking action to go forward, and this is about fighting those demons inside. So, and this is really important because this is about standing up for our rights and sort of getting rid of shadows, things that no longer serve us. But this card is about the future, and this is really about the Ace of Swords. Eventually, we will take the right action, and that's what this is about. The action that we're taking is perfect, and we're meant to express this in perfect harmony. Okay? And this is very much about pushing things forward. That's really what the Ace of Swords is about. And so just remember, in the past, whatever kind of fortunate thing that you didn't, that maybe you did spend well, or maybe you didn't, or you could have screwed that up, but you didn't, or you could have done that better. Okay, so that's what this is about. This is about an opportunity that was given to you, and maybe you did or maybe you didn't spend it well. And now going forward in the here and now, this is about this card represents fighting our shadows and those that are against you, or even like your own dark self. This is also about standing up for your rights and taking action to be treated more equally. And then the final card is the Ace of Swords, which is very much about taking action that wins, that masters things, that does do well, that is good action. And that's really what this card is about. All right.
Wow. Incredible reading.
Thanks.
That's just always so fascinating what it reflects from what we talked about the stars.
Yeah. Of course, Mercury's retrograde, so I'm not sure how it matched the stars, but maybe it did. Because it's Mercury retrograde, I can't think straight. Everything's backwards.
Well,
so
I hope we answered everybody's questions. Thanks for interacting with us. It totally makes it more enjoyable for all of us.
I did want to say to Hannah,
yeah,
Hannah, you not only need to pay attention to what's in Sag, but you really should just pay attention to the astrology, period. Because it's not always just Sag. Because it could also be Gemini, which is directly across from Sag. It could be other things. You have the entire zodiac in your chart. Everybody does. Everybody has a little bit of Sag. Everybody has a little bit of Virgo. Everybody has a little bit of Gemini. Everybody has Leo. And that's just the way it is. We all have all the planets. We all have all the signs. It's just a matter of degrees. Okay? So,
and hopefully this helps you, sort of navigate your week, recognize when certain things might be heightened, how to go with the flow when the moon is void, and, hopefully it helps you have the best possible week you can have.
Yeah.
Because we're sending you lots of love, and we appreciate you commenting, subscribing, liking, and thanks for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars.
Bye-bye.
Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to this week's Soulstrology and subscribing, liking, sharing, and reviewing. We hope you enjoy this dose of Soulstrology and encourage you to embrace the week ahead with an open mind and heart so that you may integrate the deepest of lessons from the stars. Take a moment to step outside and honor the planets, stars, and moon in the sky with your heart. Integrate the messages that resonate and leave the rest for someone else. We deeply appreciate each and every one of you. Always remember that you are a perfectly unique human with an exclusive star map of your destiny, your soul purpose, and your heart's desire. Thank you again for tuning in to Rainbow Soul.